Welcome to LFC Transfer HQ, your ultimate source for all things Liverpool FC transfers. Like and subscribe for more football updates. Our first news is Fabrizio Romano gives Antoine Semenyo and Liverpool Hijack claim as deal in place. Antoine Semenyo has been linked with several clubs including Liverpool, Man City and Man United. Manchester City are aiming to wrap up a deal to sign Antoine Semenyo to avoid any late hijacks, reports suggest. The winger has been one of the standout performers in the Premier League this season, scoring 8 goals and recording 3 assists in 16 games. But with a £65 million release clause installed in his AFC Bournemouth contract, which is active from January 1st, he appears likely to complete a switch in the coming days. Semenyo's form has meant he's been linked with several clubs. Liverpool have shown an interest and they're now short in attack, with Alexander Isak being ruled out for at least a couple of months after breaking his leg. There is also still some uncertainty over Mo Salah's future, while the Reds need to find a long-term successor regardless. However, it appears that Semenyo will be heading to Man City. It's been suggested that Ghana international has already agreed personal terms with Pep Guardiola's side. According to transfer guru Fabrizio Romano, any talk of the Reds trying to hijack the deal is off the mark. But given his availability, City want to try to agree a deal so they avoid any late surprises. Romano said on YouTube, reports are mentioning Liverpool might hijack Antoine Semenyo. Manchester City want to be as fast to avoid any kind of surprise for the deal. What Manchester City will do next is to be in touch with Bournemouth. They will be in direct conversation to discuss how to proceed with this Semenyo deal. Man City will sit at a table and say, we have a deal with Semenyo in place, we can pay the release clause of £65 million by January 10th or try to agree a different structure. From Liverpool, they have always been calling. They called in November and again in December. Liverpool have always been in contact with people close to the player. Sources close to the player say his preference is Manchester City. But until the deal is signed, you have to be careful. We will see if Liverpool decide a late attempt. Calls constantly but never an official proposal. Liverpool have endured a difficult first half of the 2025-26 campaign, with their Premier League title defence already over. They sit 10 points behind leaders Arsenal. The January window is an opportunity to strengthen, but after spending circa £450 million in the summer, bringing in the likes of Isak, Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike, head coach Arne Slot says that Liverpool's resources are not infinite. The outside world wants to believe we have unlimited money, but that is not true, the Anfield chief said. You insiders know, and you are the only ones, because the outside world only talks about our spending, what we have brought in, money, to spend. That is the way we work over here. You then have to accept that in certain games during a season you are short of a right fullback. But we are still able to win. I fully believe in that way of working, by the way. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our second news is Fabrizio Romano reveals if Liverpool could hijack Man City deal for Antoine Semenyo. Fabrizio Romano has revealed whether Liverpool are planning to make a late attempt to convince Antoine Semenyo to turn down the chance to sign for Manchester City and move to Anfield instead to work with manager Arne Slot. Liverpool have long been trying to sign Semenyo, with our transfer correspondent, Graham Bailey, reporting on December 9 that Anfield was the Bournemouth winger's preferred destination. Semenyo has a release clause of £65 million, €74.5 million, $87.7 million, in his contract at the Cherries, and Liverpool believe that he would be good value for money. However, it is Manchester City who have pressed ahead in the quest for Semenyo's signature, with Bailey revealing on December 23 that the citizens believe that the winger will end up at the Etihad Stadium in the middle of the season. Team Talk understands that the chance to win major silverware at Man City is the key factor in Semenyo's decision to move to Pep Guardiola's side. However, nothing is set in stone yet, and there has been speculation that Liverpool have not given up on the prospect of convincing the Ghana international winger to make a U-turn on his stance to join Man City and move to Anfield instead to work with manager Arne Slot. The Telegraph football reporter, Mike McGrath, wrote on X on December 24, Manchester City in strong position to pursue deal for Antoine Semenyo after Chelsea end interest. Would require players out in Jan at #MCFC. There is still competition from #LFC though. However, transfer guru Fabrizio Romano has dismissed speculation that Liverpool could make a hijack attempt for Semenyo. While noting that nothing is impossible, Romano has revealed that Man City are now planning to act quickly to get a deal done with Bournemouth after convincing Semenyo. Romano said on his YouTube channel on Thursday, Christmas Day, "I am getting many questions today, guys, because of some reports about Liverpool, reports mentioning that Liverpool might hijack this deal for Antoine Semenyo. What I can tell you, guys, is that Manchester City want to be as fast as possible to avoid any kind of surprise for the Antoine Semenyo deal. So, what Manchester City will do next is to be in touch, already this week with Bournemouth. The relationship between the two clubs, I am told, is quite good. So, Manchester City will be in direct conversation with Bournemouth to discuss how to proceed with the Semenyo deal. Manchester City will sit at a table and say, okay, we have an agreement with Semenyo, we can pay the release clause, £65 million, by January 10th, remember, or try to agree between clubs with a different structure. So, Manchester City and Bournemouth will talk this week, in these hours, I would say, to try to reach an agreement on the structure of the deal and get the "here we go" done for Antoine Semenyo. From Liverpool, they have always been calling. Liverpool started calling in November, Liverpool called again in December. Liverpool have always been in contact with people close to the player. At the moment, sources close to Semenyo confirm that the player has indicated Manchester City as his favorite destination. But, you know, until the deals are signed, we always have to be careful. At this stage, Manchester City are in the process to complete the deal and will approach Bournemouth to get a deal done. Then guys, what's going to happen with Liverpool, we will see. Liverpool will decide maybe a late attempt, but at the moment, from Liverpool, calls constantly, but never an official proposal. Want more breaking transfer lines from original sources? Add Team Talk as a preferred source on Google to your favorites list for news you can trust. Latest Liverpool transfer news, Real Madrid raid, Marc Guéhi offer. Meanwhile, we have analyzed reports linking Liverpool with a January move for an Atletico Madrid striker. Real Madrid. Manager Xabi Alonso is said to be keen on two Liverpool stars, even though Los Blancos have already decided not to sign one of them in 2026. And finally, Liverpool are reported to have made a very high offer to Marc Guéhi, who is out of contract at Crystal Palace at the end of the season. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Real would supposedly consider offers in the ballpark of £80 million, and given Semenyo has a £65 million release clause with Bournemouth, it may be worth pushing ahead with a deal for Vinicius Jr instead, should a deal truly be doable. Why Vinicius Jr should be Liverpool's top pick? It's worth drawing attention right off the bat to Vinicius Jr.'s contractual situation. The Brazil superstar, as he has been labeled by former Real Madrid teammate Luka Modric, is halfway through the penultimate year of his deal, thus limiting the parameters Florentino Perez can set at the negotiating table. He £400,000 per week talent has yet to fall toward a particular eventuality as he creeps toward the exit at Santiago Bernabeu, but Liverpool might be the perfect location for him, with the 25-year-old comfortably established as one of the world's best forwards and sure to become one of Slot's main men, playing off the left flank. He might even prove himself to be a bigger talent than Isak. Liverpool's star striker is one of the sharpest finishers in the game, with elite movement and athleticism when fully fit. But Vini boasts a unique repertoire. While Vinicius Jr is more of a wide forward than a focal frontman like Isak, he has played plenty at number 9, and there's no question that he has a wider breadth of quality to complement his ferocious killer instinct. The goals have dried up of late, but he scored bucket loads in his time, even as he plods along through 2025-26, out of sorts and potentially feeling unloved in a team he has led to 2 Champions League titles. Does Vinicius Jr return solid numbers that would be hallmarks of lesser forwards' careers? He has 5 goals and 8 assists from 24 matches, having notched 22 goals and 19 assists across all competitions last year. Isak is one of the best strikers in the Premier League. One of the best in Europe. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer. Our third news is talks held. Liverpool could sign £131 million star who's a bigger talent than Isak. Are Liverpool going to complete a deal for Bournemouth's high-flying talisman, Antoine Semenyo, this January? Well, someone's going to, with all the reliable sources confirming that the Ghana international is set to leave the Vitality Stadium having scored 8 goals and supplied 3 assists across 16 Premier League appearances this season. At this hectic Christmas stage, it looks as though he's set to head to Manchester City, with David Ornstein revealing on the 23rd that the player's preference is to join Man City. While many frustrated Reds fans would point toward central defense as a priority position this winter, Alexander Isak's injury and the lingering uncertainty around Mohamed Salah may well have changed things for FSG and sporting director Richard Hughes. How Liverpool can react to Isak's injury. Isak's ice-cold finish to set Liverpool on their way against Tottenham was supposed to be the start of a bright spell for the British record signing. Having cost Liverpool £125 million, to say the former Newcastle forward has been disappointing would be an understatement, and now, he faces a lengthy layoff after breaking his leg when cut down by Mickey van de Ven in the act of scoring. There are a number of routes Liverpool can head down as they try to find ways to replace the Sweden striker, but pushing ahead with a deal for Semenyo feels the most prudent. But Semenyo is a wanted man, and Liverpool do have another option they could fall back on. After all, Vinicius Jr is the better player. Reports from this month, as relayed by Football Fancast, outline Liverpool's interest in Real Madrid's want-away winger. Talks have allegedly been held with the player's representatives, and there could be a price tag of around £131 million. Our fourth news is, I do know, EFL chairman makes Liverpool transfer claim ahead of January window. Liverpool have continued to be linked to Crystal Palace defender Marc Guéhi ahead of the January transfer window. Liverpool may have to overpay the market value for any players if they want to make signings in the January transfer window. It has been suggested, clubs across Europe are able to do business in less than a week's time, and it will be intriguing if the Reds opt to use the opportunity. Liverpool's Premier League title defence is already over as they're 10 points behind Arsenal. But Arne Slot's side have a battle to finish in the top 4, while they are in the Champions League. The Reds are set to be without £125 million British record signing Alexander Isak for a couple of months after he broke his leg in last weekend's 2-1 win at Tottenham Hotspur. Meanwhile, Liverpool are short of centre-backs, with Giovanni Leone ruled out for the rest of the campaign after rupturing his ACL. Slot's side were interested in signing Marc Guéhi from Crystal Palace last summer and agreed a £35 million fee before the plug was pulled at the 11th hour. Guéhi's Palace contract expires in the summer, and the South London side could well be open to cashing in for the right price rather than see their captain leave on a free transfer. But according to Peterborough United owner and chairman Dara McAnthony, Liverpool would have to make an offer that is worthwhile to Palace. Speaking on Sky Sports, McAnthony said, "You've got people like me who will demand even higher prices for a player. You could be in the middle of a promotion campaign, someone wants one of your players and you're going to ask for a ridiculous figure because you don't want to lose in a promotion campaign. Supply and demand is exactly right. It's never a great month to do business or change your squad. In the past, we've done really well in January when it's one of 2. If you start bringing in 6 or 7, it's like an emergency month to save your season. It's a recipe for disaster. Liverpool will already have targets, they'll be looking at the summer window. The one thing I know about Liverpool is they're very shrewd and do their business quickly. Guehi is probably the best centre-back out there who is going to be available in the summer. Do you put an offer to Crystal Palace and maybe they'll sniff at an offer? I do know you overpay in January when you do business. Liverpool spent circa £450 million in the summer transfer window on the likes of Isak, Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike. However, Slot recently admitted that the Reds will have a limited budget in January if they do want to recruit. The Anfield head coach said, "The outside world wants to believe we have unlimited money, but that is not true, you insiders know, and you are the only ones because the outside world only talks about our spending, what we have brought in, money, to spend. That is the way we work over here. You then have to accept that in certain games during a season you are short of a right fullback. But we are still able to win. I fully believe in that way of working, by the way." Fabrizio Romano addresses Liverpool's chances of hijacking Man City's Antoine Semenyo move, while fresh talks emerge over a sensational £131m rated star. An EFL chairman makes a bold January claim, and every Arne Slot signing is reviewed, revealing a clear issue Liverpool must fix ahead of the window. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC Transfer HQ news. Our last news is every Arne Slot signing rated and slated with clear Liverpool issue identified. There was a flurry of activity in the summer at Anfield with a series of incomings, and we look at who has fared well and who has struggled in the first half of the season. Liverpool made a splash in the transfer window this summer. Arne Slot and his backroom staff welcomed a host of players to Anfield, with as many as 10 joining the club's ranks. Overall, Slot has brought 11 players to Liverpool, totaling £424.5 million. The Premier League title-winning coach has seen his new side underwhelm this season, however, with several high-profile signings struggling. From Florian Wirtz to Alexander Isak, it seems everyone has an opinion. The majority of the players on board have only been at Liverpool for half a season, though, and it would be dangerous to write any of them off at this stage. The Echo now runs the rule over all of Slot's signings so far, rating just how they've adjusted to life at Anfield. Goalkeeper Armin Pexi is yet to feature and so isn't rated, while fellow shot-stopper Freddie Woodman has played just once in the 3-0 Carabao Cup defeat to Crystal Palace and is therefore omitted too. Georgi Mamardashvili, 5 out of 10. Mamardashvili finally joined the Reds this summer after initially signing from Valencia in the summer of 2024 for £25 million. The 25-year-old found himself in between the sticks faster than he would have thought after Alisson Becker picked up an injury earlier this season. However, Liverpool lost 4 of the 5 games he started in Alisson's absence. Although he did save Erling Haaland's penalty against Manchester City in a 3-0 defeat, Mamardashvili also conceded 10 goals during that time. The towering Georgian has demonstrated a knack for shot-stopping and does cut a big presence, but whether he can deputise for the Brazilian should he leave Anfield in the near future, the jury is still out. Rio Ngumaha, 6/10. Joining on a free from Chelsea in the summer of 2024, Ngumaha arrived at Kirkby with much anticipation. His stunning late strike away to Newcastle earlier this season suggested Liverpool have a future superstar on their hands. Rio Ngumaha celebrates a goal. View 10 images. Rio Ngumaha scored the winning goal against Newcastle United. Image, Getty Images. Since then, however, the 17-year-old has rarely been seen in the first team. In fact, Ngumaha has featured just 4 times since bamboozling the Magpies' defence, and not played for the Reds at all since their humbling 3-0 home defeat to Nottingham Forest in early November. Game time will come, as will more of Ngumaha's frightening talent. Federico Chiesa, 5 out of 10. The Euro 2020 winner is loved by fans for his infectious enthusiasm but doesn't seem to share the same affection from Slot. The Italian has managed 4 goals and 5 assists in 31 appearances for the Reds since joining from Juventus for £10 million in August 2024. He has made a major impact off the bench this season against Bournemouth, in the Carabao Cup against Southampton, and he even scored an equaliser in Liverpool's defeat to Crystal Palace. However, the 28-year-old has yet to usurp Mo Salah, even with the Egyptian being out of the team on occasion this season, or Cody Gakpo on the other flank, despite the Dutchman's erratic form. And the vacancy created by Luis Diaz's departure this summer remains unfilled. With Slot unable to rely on Gumaha and Chiesa, for differing reasons, it's clear that the next issue to be addressed in the transfer market is out wide. That could be where Antoine Semenyo comes into the equation in January. Jeremy Frimpong, 5/10. The Dutch fullback's Liverpool career has been hampered with injury. Restricted to 5 appearances so far, the 25-year-old summer signing from Bayer Leverkusen cost the Reds £29.5 million. A troubling hamstring has prevented fans from seeing the flying fullback come into his own. While he bagged an assist in the Community Shield defeat to Palace, his output has been limited ever since. A lively cameo away to Spurs last weekend suggests there's more to come. Florian Wirtz, 7/10. Despite the question marks over where the German superstar fits into Slot's system, there's no denying his ability. Blistering performances against Eintracht Frankfurt, Real Madrid, Inter Milan and away to Spurs have shown the Reds faithful that the £116 million man from Leverkusen has what it takes to make it in the Premier League. Wirtz's physicality has been doubted, as has his ability to truly dictate a game from his favoured number 10 position. However, after a tough start, he's recorded 2 assists in his last 4 games and his first goal for Liverpool is surely around the corner. Milos Kerkez, 5/10. Signed for £40 million from Bournemouth, the rapid left-back has struggled when picked ahead of Andy Robertson this season. Often rash on the ball and eager to go to ground, there's no doubt Liverpool's creativity from deep has suffered at times when Kerkez has started, yet during Liverpool's recent run, which has seen them go 6 games unbeaten, the Hungarian has begun to demonstrate what earned him a place in the Premier League's Team of the Season last year. Still only 22 years old, the tough tackling star has a lot to learn, but his potential is there to see. Hugo Ekitike, 9/10. The crown jewel of Slot's summer haul without a doubt. The 23-year-old joined from Frankfurt for £69 million and was soon overshadowed by the arrival of Alexander Isak. Pressure? What pressure? Thanks for watching. That's all for today's transfer update. But the transfer window never sleeps, and neither do we. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest Liverpool FC transfer news, rumors, and confirmed deals. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update, because at LFC Transfer HQ, you'll never walk alone.